Okay, let's start. I guess we can. Yep. Okay, I guess we can start now. In the meantime, let's share this link to our followers and our members. Probably they are still not yet here. Of course, they are still not yet here. They're still not here. Okay. Quantum computing. Uh, mm, then we start with Telegram posts. We got 1 minute for the Telegram post. Here, here we go. Cancel. Go ahead. 1 minute. Sorry about that. Okay, so most likely some of our new followers at Soul of the Market will be following us here at YouTube Live. All right. I guess we can start now. All right. Welcome once again to Soul of the Market live session here at YouTube channel for our YouTube channel actually. So once again, we're not going to live stream from Facebook because I think Facebook is now a, what do you call that? A censor friendly social media. Okay, so we're not going to do live streaming for Facebook anymore, probably until further notice. But yeah, we're not going to talk about it anyway. We're not there. It's not worth discussing with regards to Bitcoin and the direction we're heading to. So, but anyway, let me share one more time our link on Twitter. All right, Bitcoin is the moral money. All right, so that's our title right now. Bitcoin is the moral money. That's our topic for today. So, what we're going to discuss is what it's like, what it's like after inflation. One, now that you understand or you understood now what inflation is actually, and it's not about how the financial gurus, the economic degree holders are telling you about inflation. What it is really, okay? So even me, when I was studying about inflation, no one dared ask what is inflation, who invented inflation, why are we having this 10%, 2% year on year increase in inflation? Why? Who's doing the math for that? What what are the criteria or the parameters that will tell us that inflation is going to be 3% this year, 5% next year, etc., etc. So who's doing that? Who is actually dictating that we are supposedly what uh, adopting or keep on following what inflation is? Okay, so meaning if inflation is 5% next year and you're what receiving about 150,000 a month for this year, then that means your money will be less the value of your money will be less than 5% today, next year. So you got it? That is inflation. Okay, so it is not organic. Okay, inflation is not organic. It is invented by man. It is invented to so that someone using using a printed money, will going to be charged for using that money. Okay, so it's called surcharge. You're being surcharged for the use of money. So the central banks, they are not printing money for free. Okay, nobody's printing money for free. They are being it's being loaned to the banks, and the banks in being loaned towards you or towards the consumers. So that's how inflation is growing. Okay, so we are in a debt-based financial system. That's why every year, when someone is defaulting, someone cannot afford to pay the obligations. Okay, so the central banks or those money printers will going to what? We're going to print more money until the value of your money is no longer what is no longer what it is. It's lesser. So that's inflation. All right. So now we're going to discuss how we're going to escape, diba? Yung inflation. Actually not how, but the scenario is we're done with that. Tapos na tayo dun sa inflation, and we are actually do you call that, post-inflation scenario, meaning we are already adopting Bitcoin as our medium of transaction. So let's move on, and let me share my screen. Okay, Bitcoin is the moral money. So life without inflation. So when we say life without inflation, there will be a lot of things that will going to change, and some of us will not be really comfortable with it. Especially those who are about to lose a lot, power, fortune that they are accustomed with the old debt-based financial system, which has to go away, and whether they like it or not, it is going to go away. Alright, so life without inflation. But first of all, what it's like for an average Joe when inflation is no longer an inorganic matter. It's not even a matter. Okay, so how are we going to define inflation in one word? A parasite, probably. Okay, so it's no longer a parasite in our society. Okay, so once we are now off the inflation, we got rid of inflation. Of course, there will be a lot of things that will go away as well. The central banking, probably the government. Well, I think the government will go away. Okay, central banking will definitely go away. We're gonna get rid of the central banking, and then, having said that, what will go away once central banking is out is the SWIFT network, the BIS, the Bank of International Settlement. So all those entities will going to go away, meaning you are left without a bank, which is a good thing because you are no longer bound by the debt-based financial system, which actually has been driving you for many years into 9 to 6 a.m. routine, going to work, working for the boss you hate, over and over again, doing this until you retire and then until you die. Okay, so on an average level, this is what a Bitcoin society, a Bitcoin-backed society without inflation looks like. Okay, so one household with an average jobless Joe miner. Okay, so we call him the average jobless because once you're starting mining Bitcoin from your household, you're probably jobless. Okay, but you're not broke. You're not rich, you're not wealthy, you're not filthy rich, you're not. We will no longer have that concept of someone cruising cruising on the yacht with martini on hand. So we're not going to have that kind of picture anymore on a post-inflation scenario because those kind of photos, those kind of hedonism, it was marketed to you by the wicked entities that are controlling the debt-based financial system before. So it's no longer, it's not going to be that way anymore. Once we adopted the inflation-less society. Okay, but at least you own your home. Okay, you have you're jobless, but you still have you own a property. You own several properties probably, or you own uh, affordable properties, cars, whatever, etc. gadgets. But okay, in your household, you're mining Bitcoin. Okay, and then from that, that is where your income, most of your income. We will not going to call it passive income because you're the one doing work is your Bitcoin mining rig. Okay, so this Bitcoin is in the future. This Bitcoin is set up what is already set up and programmed to pay your phone bills, to pay your water bills, replenish your groceries, pay your gas, and then it's just you um, virtually doing nothing. Probably you're working for something like you're doing a commission work on a certain project that you are not pressured to do a deadline. You are not compelled to wake up 5 a.m. and then drive to office before 9 a.m. Things like that. So, but you are basically free. But you're not really wealthy. Okay, you're prosperous, but you're not filthy rich. There's no digital or modern serfdom that separates you from the rest of the society because most of the society are probably or most likely doing the same thing. My Bitcoin mining rig or running a Bitcoin mining rig at home. Okay, so it pays for everything. You probably have an off-grid power generator that powers your Bitcoin mining rig because on a more detailed scenario, you can actually have an off-the-grid and on-the-grid automatic transfer switch. Okay, so whenever your power generator goes out, it will going to switch over to the main grid, and then if the main grid is not available, it will going to switch over to your off-grid power generator. So no one can sabotage the Bitcoin mine or the Bitcoin network. It cannot be sabotaged because your internet will be out on one section and can be online on another section because thanks to the Starlink or the satellite internet. This is why, for example, this train that is coming. Once we are in an inflation-free society, it doesn't have to run by this hour because people are already resting and people don't have to go out. I mean, it's not forced. I mean, it's a decision by the people whether they want to go out or not because they are self-sufficient as far as Bitcoin mining is concerned, and they are not dependent on the government for whatever universal basic income the government is offering them, which is actually in exchange for their freedom and their right to what? Right to self-incriminate, the Fifth Amendment of the United States, right? So, so many things that is totally beneficial without inflation. Okay, so this is the basic setup of that. So everything is going to be paid for by your Bitcoin mining rig once, okay, once we got out of the inflationary or debt-based financial system. So, are you getting it now? This is exciting because this is exciting at the same time. This is frightening because for the people who like us, this is exciting. But for the people in the government, in the banking sector, especially those in the IMF, World Bank, Bank of International Settlement, the World Economic Forum, it's going to be frightening for them because it's going to what? It's going to take out the power from them, and if they're going to lose influence from the people. Okay? So there will be no more pandemic, no more forcing the vaccines to you, because anyway, those things are being forced to you right now because they can see that this is going to be the near future, not the future, but it's the near future, because we don't need to invent the technology. The technology is already existing, the technology is already there. All that is needed is for the people to realize that inflation is not transitory, inflation is inorganic, and there is a way out. Okay? So once they realize there's a way out, they can actually what? They can actually start saving and investing not directly to the Bitcoin wallets or the Bitcoin exchanges or the crypto exchanges, but actually setting up their own mining at home. I'm talking about mining. This is the next level thing. No, not trading or charting what's the next hot cryptocurrency out there. So we're not going to talk about that anymore, because once you do that, you're just actually staying into the system. You're not trying to get out and trying to set yourself free. Okay, you're actually still bounding yourself to the fiat debt-based system. Okay, which actually is not a moral money, because why? It encourages crime, and it encourages greed. Okay, so life should be a little bit simple, like this. So meron kang you have a Bitcoin mining rig. If you want more, if you want mining rig, fine, you can just set up as many as you can. Okay? Soon the government will try to what? They will try to regulate setting up Bitcoin mining rigs, okay? They will try to do that. This is why you are now into the climate change hoax, okay? They're not trying to scare you with the climate change agenda, kasi once you get scared with the climate change agenda, it will look like that Bitcoin mining is not environmentally friendly, whereas the fact is it is environmentally friendly. Okay, so it is power efficient, it is energy efficient. Actually, you became a valuable customer to the power companies like Meralco, because you are what? You buy energy from them more than anyone else. Okay? But the thing is, you are running your own power generator. Okay? So hands off talaga yung government dyan. As long as you are not emitting too much carbon, which is actually a subjective law as well. No, we cannot be always being dictated by the European Union what should be our carbon emission limits. No, we should not be following them because they have their own agenda of trying to control us. Okay, so we should be free from them. So now this is the average jobless Joe miner, no job, just Bitcoin mining rig. Okay, just Bitcoin mining for the rest of his life. Okay, so now are you getting it? Ganun lang kasimple. You don't need to actually open a Bitcoin exchange account for this. Once you set up your mining rig, all you need is to create a wallet in the Bitcoin network for the Bitcoin network to understand your blocks or your coins or your satoshis. Okay, so now there will be a lot of questions for this particular Bitcoin mining. But Jared, the last block will be mined 100 years from now. Kailan natin pinag-usapan yan? We've been talking about it since last year. Diba? Ngayon si Marvin Germo is already mentioning it. So there are only 20 million Bitcoins to be mined in circulation. So after that, ano mangyayari sa mga Bitcoin miners? They will be compensated by securing the network. Okay, so every time they run a Bitcoin mining, for example, you are a miner, you will be compensated for securing the network. So hindi yan parties over once the 20 millionth Bitcoin, the 20 millionth block has been mined. So it's not a party over even in the next 100 years. So there's always a lot of time right now to set up your Bitcoin mining rig, and don't look forward to actually immediately mining a block. It's going to be difficult, but you will be compensated for doing that. You're going to be paid in satoshis. Hello, you'll be going to be paid in satoshis. All right. So that's how it's going to work. So if you're worrying, hey Jared, wala na tayong ano, paano pag naubos yung Bitcoin? No, it's not gonna end that way, no, na pagka naubos yung Bitcoin sa mining, do sa math, actually sa algorithm, the 20 million Bitcoin has been mined. It's not gonna stop from there. Okay? The Bitcoin network has to continue moving and doing its work as a medium of transaction, as a form of who you are, what in the planet or in the universe. Okay, so as long as your Bitcoin mining rig is up, you're going to have income. Okay, ganun lang yun. But it's not going to be the concept of what we have right now, the debt-based financial system. Like, you need to work for the money. Okay, you have to do this so that you will earn money. So after the inflation, once the inflation is gone and you're running your Bitcoin mining rig, you're just actually, this particular setup is just going to cover what? Your earthly or your material cost, so that you can focus on what? On your spiritual things. Gets nyo na? Galing, di ba? Ano yun? That's what those are the things that most financial gurus don't get, because until now they are still in this goal of how am I going to buy Bitcoin or any cryptocurrency during a crash so that I can sell for a profit. So ganun pa rin ang thinking, selling, going into the Bitcoin and then getting out the Bitcoin for a fiat money. Okay, the fiat money has to go away completely in order for you to be really financially free. Okay, so there's no such thing as financial freedom as long as inflation, as long as you're accepting inflation as organic, as an organic thing. Okay, so hindi siya organic, it's inorganic. It's invented by a group of people, a group of elites, okay, who's trying to control you for so many years, and now it's there's a technology that allows you to fight them. Okay, so ito na yon, and it's not the future. The technology is here. The technology is real. Okay? So, yeah. I think sorry, I think I'm talking from far away from the microphone. So, yep. What else? Yeah. So, without inflation, there will be no more what? There will be no more taxes. Will still be a government. I think there's still a government, pero eventually the government, the type of government, any kind of government we have, will go away. Okay, so kasi yan inflation is tied to a lot of things. Without inflation, wala na yung dependencies. So increasing cost of living, so mawawala na rin yan. Once, for example, now you're paying 70 pesos per liter for a gasoline. If you will now in the Bitcoin, and the price of gasoline or the price of diesel is, let's say, 5 pesos per liter, or 0.05 satoshis, or maybe 1 satoshis, let's say 5 satoshis per liter ang presyo ng diesel or gas. It will going to stay that way because there's no reason for that to increase anymore, unless that particular resource has already been exhausted. Then the value of that resource is zero. Okay, Because ano naman yan ang fossil fuel natin is not really scarce. Talagang we are actually abundant with fossil fuel, and actually our planet has been extensively mined for 20,000 years. So 20,000 years until now meron pa din. Okay? So there will be wala nang increase in cost of living because there's no reason for things the cost of doing things to go up. Wala na inflation. There will be no more wars. Well, what are we going to fight for? Diba? Nasa digital world na tayong lahat. We're already in the Bitcoin universe, so there's no more territorial grounds to fight over except probably, hey, I have too much mining rig farm here that I need to expand, but you can only expand so much. Okay, so maybe 10 mining rigs is enough for you to live and then for your next generation to come. Alright, so then what else? There will be no more famine because famine is not it's not God made, it's man made. Famine is man made, no? We are always abundant with resources, food, water, and everything. God provided to us. Okay, so hindi siya yung famine, tao nag-invento niyan. So Africa went into famine because the European countries, they exploited this land for their own for their own selfish agenda. So lahat ng resources, even India, no? India during World War II, this is not a very known story but it is recorded. During World War II, all their food supply was diverted by Winston Churchill. Okay? Diverted by Winston Churchill to feed the British Army during the Second World War. So ano nangyari sa India noon? So almost half of their population died in famine. Diba? Kasi yung food nila kinukuha ng mga British, no, so that they can feed the British Army. So it's not going to happen anymore because wala na rin tayong war. There will be no poverty virtually. So ang magiging mahirap na lang siguro that those people that will remain poor are those people who are actually ignorant na something's going on and they are not aware of what it is, especially those in the higher levels of this what do you call that, the mafia, the cabal, or the deep state. So they're not aware that there's something like this happening and they're going to fight for it, and then until they lose, and then they lose everything. Okay, so that there will be no more crime because the only thing that encourages crime is fiat money. Okay, inflation again, fiat money, crime is always goes side by side. Okay, so fiat money is not a moral money. So this is why Bitcoin, you don't need to steal Bitcoin if you have your own mining rig, right? So that's the vision. The Bitcoin backed society is that you're not only buying Bitcoin, trading it in the crypto exchange. That is not how it is. Okay, if you're doing that, that is 19th century thinking. Okay, that is Great Depression thinking, because you're still trying to work on the capital market, whereas that is no longer a modern way of transacting or doing your day-to-day business. Gets nyo na? Galing no? But this is not for everyone. Like I said, those who are about to lose, they will fight, lie, and destroy. Like what is happening now. Okay? Alam na nila yung central bank decades ago, alam na nila na mangyayari yung Bitcoin. But they only laughed at it. Okay, kalokohan yan. And then now it's happening. Bitcoin is growing, the network is growing. I don't really care about $47,000 or $46,000 to a Bitcoin right now, or I don't really care if it's going to 60, 100K or 220,000 in the next few months, next few weeks, because I'm not getting out anyway from Bitcoin. So they will fight, lie, and destroy, which is actually they're doing now. The central banks right now are just actually fighting for its last breath. Okay, so you have to keep that in mind. This is why you are having these distractions, Oscar awards, slapping drama, Ukraine war, pandemic, these are all distraction from what is seriously happening to them. Okay? Still, you can focus on the things you love doing instead of working for the money. Like I said, so working for the money for the next 10 years, 20 years. Okay? Then after that, what? You retire, and then a few years later of retirement, you die, which is actually a trend. Diba? Trend na yan since the last 30 years. Those who retired after a few years, 3 years, 5 years, will eventually die. Okay? Kasi gano'n na lang, magre-retire ka 60 years old. So how much years left you have here in this world to enjoy life? Anyway, then working for the boss you hate for 8 hours a day. I still what? I still admire, or I don't know. I'm still shocked and awe by the people who do this for many years. Okay. This is why inflation, the main core, or if you want to solve a lot of problems right now, you have to look at inflation in a different way. And lastly, okay, financial freedom is a myth. As long as you're accepting that inflation is organic. Alright, so keep that in mind. Bitcoin mining lang pala. But if you look at it, no one's talking about it except Sol of the market. Alright? So thank you very much for watching. Salamat tayo. Ba't ako natawa? You know what? I forgot to switch over to my recording view. Yan. So let me go over to what I discussed a while ago, but it's going to be really quick. Let's do it from here. Ayan. Okay. So a while ago I was discussing this. Okay, so our Bitcoin is the moral money. Okay, so I was talking about this for about 10 minutes. So you got this setup in an average jobless Joe miner. Okay, so running a Bitcoin mining rig. So it's with the power, the off-the-grid power generator, and then everything is being paid for by the mining rig: phone, water, groceries, gas, etc. Okay, so that's your scenario without inflation. It's funny, but anyway, let's just recap. At least we still have 10 minutes. So this is the setup. While I was talking about this a while ago, average jobless Joe miner. I thought we are sharing the screen, but anyway, yep. So your Bitcoin mining rig is going to pay for everything in the future, in the near future. Okay, all the things that you are worried about, probably your mortgage as well, but not really much. Okay, because you own your own property anyway, and then no one is going to be really filthy wealthy or filthy rich. Everything is just perpetually prosperous. Everyone is perpetually prosperous. Okay, so without inflation, there will be no more taxes, government, wars, famine, poverty, and crime. And this is what I'm talking about kanina. So funny. But this is not for everyone, okay? So those who are about to lose will fight, lie, and destroy. So alam na natin kung sino yun. We were talking about it from the previous live streams. And still, you can focus on the thing you love instead. Okay? Working for the money, instead of working for the money, dying shortly after retirement, working for the boss you hate for 8 hours a day. And then, financial freedom is a myth. As long as you're accepting, so long as you are accepting that inflation is organic, you will not going to have financial freedom. So I forgot to set up that. Anyway. Alright. So So I guess that's it. If you want to replay this video, I'm just going to keep it up in right here in YouTube, and you can replay from the not from the start, but from where I opened the deck, the presentation deck. All right. So again, thank you very much for watching Soul of the Market. Yep. I am now ending my transmission.